What's going on, guys? Welcome back to DCS World. Welcome back aboard the Hornet for another tutorial video. In this one, we're going to take a look at the Joint Direct Attack Munition, also known as the JDAM. The JDAM is a GPS/INS guided, precision-guided munition. What this means is that the bomb itself has a global positioning system and inertial navigation system guidance kit strapped onto it that allows it to self-guide towards a predetermined set of coordinates that we give it either via a coordinate entry from the UFC or we pass data coordinates on from our targeting pod. The JDAM comes in two flavors, actually three flavors more correctly for the Hornet. We have the GBU-38, which is a Mark 82 500-pound bomb that's had the GPS guidance kit attached to it. We have the GBU-31, which is a Mark 84 with the JDAM guidance kit attached to it. And we also have the GBU-31 Bunker Buster variant, which is a penetration warhead. But it functions much the same as the Mark 84 variant in how we actually target it. So, a couple of things we need to do. We need to go over to our stores page here. We are, of course, going to flip our master arm on, get ourselves into air-to-ground mode as usual. And then from our SMS here, we want to select J82. J82 is the denotion for the GBU-38s that we have on board. I currently have 8 of them. They are double racked at 2 per station, so the inboard and outboard wing stations, as you can see on the wing form here. We have a timer here counting down. The JDAM needs to align its own INS, and that takes about 2 minutes 30 seconds. This counts down from 10 minutes for some reason. When it reaches 7 minutes 30 seconds remaining, you'll look down here and you will see align quality either 0 or 1, and it will say align quality good. Right now it says align quality unstable. So we need to give that some time to actually count down and align itself. While it's doing that, we can set up a few other things here. We have the electronic fuse, E-fuse. We can do a variable time, or we can do an instantaneous. For the most part, we're going to use instantaneous so that it explodes on impact. We have a mode button here. Now, the JDAM, and in a future video I'm going to detail with the joint standoff weapon, the JSOW, we have available to us 2 modes of employment. We have pre-planned or PP mode, which in this mode, the way we target the JDAM is by manually inputting coordinates via our keypad here, the UFC. We also have TOO, or Target of Opportunity mode, which we're going to look at today. Target of Opportunity mode enables us to give the JDAM bombs themselves coordinates on the fly with something like our targeting pod. Via Target of Opportunity mode, we can also feed it a waypoint as a potential target. But for our demonstration today, and in most practical senses, Target of Opportunity mode, you're going to be using your targeting pod. Let's also take a look at the JDAM display switch here. We see our mode again. Okay, we're currently looking at Station 8. We can have up to 2 Target of Opportunity missions. However, I believe the current implementation has these both get overwritten when you select a new target, so the second mission is not useful to us right now. So we're going to stick to TOO1. And we can look at this page here. We could set terminal guidance stuff if we wanted to, but that's not presently implemented, so don't worry about that. But once we select a target, you'll actually see the coordinates for the target get plugged in over here. Now, how do we select a target? Well, we're going to use our trusty targeting pod, of course. So as with always, you want to make sure our FLIR switch is on and warmed up. Mine already is, just to save some time, so I'm going to I'm actually going to halt the camera right there so you can see both of my DDIs. I'm going to bring up the FLIR on the right side here. Going to get it into white hot mode. Assign the TDC and slew it down, and we're going to look for some targets. All right. Let's zoom in. Get our FOV. So we see a cluster of vehicles at my trusty targeting range over here. We'll get him into a nice point track. And then the way we designate the target, as though we're designating targets for any weapon using the targeting pod, we go TDC depress. Try not to move it like I did. Like that again. And if we look over here, we've now plugged in coordinates in decimal second format, so very accurate, the northing and easting of that truck. Okay? And what that enables us to do is we can now drop the bomb on that target. Now I just want to point something out here. If I hit return on this screen, we can see that our align quality is now good because we have passed the 2-minute 30-second mark. Let's go back into the mission page. So we are basically good to go. The bomb is aligned. We have our target up there. We can actually see the target diamond on the HUD. As far as HUD symbology is concerned, not too much to talk about, but a couple of things. We have a time to maximum range, TMR, here. Our release mode is currently manual. The J82 in TOO mode is selected, and our target is 16 nautical miles that-a-way. So, one other thing I do want to point out, let me actually flip off of the FLIR page, close this down here, and I want to bring up the HSI. When employing JDAMs, and indeed JSOWs in a future video, on your HSI you're actually going to have minimum and maximum range rings. Let me zoom this in a little bit so you can see here. The outer ring is the maximum range that we can drop the weapon. The inner ring is the minimum range at which we can drop the weapon. And the HSI will also be able to give us guidance if the actual minimum and maximum range rings are off of the scale. But this gives you an idea of where and how you need to fly to get in range to drop the weapon. Okay? We can leave that there for now. Let's unpause the sim and get lined up with this target. Good practice to use your autopilot when you're doing employment of precision-guided munitions, laser bombs, GBU 38s, 31s, Mavericks even in some cases. Because you're going to be heads down in the cockpit a lot, so make use of your barometric altitude hold. We have about 5 seconds now to minimum range. Maximum range, rather. We are now in range. We look, our airplane wing form is inside the max range circle. So all I need to do now is press the weapon release button. And that's a weapon away. And we can actually follow it in. Now, it might look like we dropped this bomb pretty far away from the target, and in fact we did. The nice thing about JDAMs is, compared to conventional unguided bombs, is you can actually extend their range a little bit because they can use their control surfaces to glide a little bit further. They're not truly glide bombs, but they do use their control surfaces for a little bit of aerodynamic lift and steering so that they can get a bit of range. You may have noticed we dropped that bomb outside of 10 miles, so pretty good. Let's follow it in. JDAMs do shallow their approach. They sort of do a somewhat of a wobbled flight path. They'll dive a little bit, level out, and then dive on the target. You're about to see this one dive. There it goes. It levels out and then dives on the target. Boom. And that actually hit a little bit long because I believe I targeted just behind that truck. But it did technically hit where I targeted it. And in fact, I'll probably get 4 kills out of that. So I'm not too distraught about that. So that's pretty much it. That's how you use the Joint Direct Attack munition in Target of Opportunity mode. As a follow-up to this video, in the next video, we're looking at the Joint Standoff weapon, in which we will employ it in pre-plan mode. And just as a quick disclaimer, the pre-plan and Target of Opportunity modes that you see for the JDAM also apply to the JSOW and vice versa. So I will use a lot of the same terminology, and they will make a bit more sense once we actually see it. So stay tuned for that. But for now, I will see you guys next time. Take care.